I'm Dustin Snow. I got third place at the Boise Regional, making this deck profile for Hukuna, my data's channel, and I played Darklord, so let's just get started. So first off, we have Darklord Jehudi. This is the best one-card combo in the deck. It has a graveyard effect that just lets you add back if you control a fusion, so it's follow-up and the best starter, so great. Gogolet, so this is mission critical because it's the way you bridge from the monsters into the spell traps, so you need this card's graveyard effect that searches a Darklord card to resolve. And it can also search Forbidden Quick Plays, which is nice because you play Crown. 3 Ixchel, this card's just Pot of Greed, very nice. It's really good on field too as an interruption because it just copies effects. It and Gogolet is like a really good 2-card combo that can play into everything really well. This deck doesn't really care about Charmies, and if you hard open Jehudi, it doesn't really care about Droll, so this deck's nice as a combo deck. Darklord Morningstar, this is my favorite card of all time. This card's sick. For the most part, you play it for its name, just so you can get the board wipe on first Darklord, which we'll go over later. But it does have an effect on summon to just e-telly out as many Darklords as you want, basically. So this card, normal summoning this card does come up, and when you do, it just wins the game instantly. 3 Banishment. This card's fantastic because it's basically a +1 because you add any card in the archetype and then you copy its effect and you add any card in the archetype again. So, and you play one of each of the spells that you search off of everything. So Contact lets you Reborn, which is important for ending on Ixchel and for playing through Nibiru. And then Dance is like the whole reason the deck works because it lets you make Evening Star. And yep. And then we have 2 traps. So I think these are the 2 best traps. I do play Enchantment in the side deck, but I think these are the two best to main. And then for the engine of choice, because you can play a lot of fairy engines in this deck, one of them being Melodious, you can play Trickstar, you can play Gem Knight, but the one I settled on is Solfachord, which I think is the most popular. Dawn Angel Canby lets you summon any level 1 from deck, so you can use this for either the Trickstar play or just summon Permoa, which just is full combo. And so this card doesn't use your normal summon, gets the whole Melodious line going. It's probably the best starter in the deck, best extender too. And then you play 1 Cutea. This card's like okay as a normal summon because with basically any Darklord name it's full combo, but like you just need it so that Happiness can do more. Solfachord, it just summons itself from hand, great. It's also an on-resolution monster negate and scale, which is broken. Being able to just summon this from hand too to play through hand traps by making Condemned with your fairy bodies is also really nice. And then Happiness, this card e-tellies Solfachord from deck basically. This card's great. Does everything you want, puts enough fairies on field that you can just like fairy slop your way into the Darklord combo. And then Majesty Hyperion. This card is really important for a few reasons. It's a level 8 Dark Fairy, which means it's material for Evening Star. It's a Dark Fairy that converts tokens into Dark Fairies, and I'll show you how once we get to the extra deck. But it lets you make Herald and Mirage Lights with the tokens that Gogolet produces. It's also Graveyard Disruption, which is nice to have in a deck that kind of lacks it. And then for non-engine, we have 3 Multormi Fuelos, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Herald and Mirage Lights, Orange Lights. This card's fantastic. If you play a fairy deck, this card's just broken. 3 Droplet, obviously has synergy with the deck because you can search it and it triggers Gogolet, and it's just one of the best non-engine you can play right now. Then for the side deck, we have 3 Darklord Evening Star. So this card is like one of the best support cards I've ever printed because it just like pluses 2 on summon because it sets 2 from deck, which is a disruption and then ends up being banishment, which pluses 1 itself because you get to copy it. And this card gets to copy the traps. And it can't be targeted, so it's just really gummy and sticky. And it's also 4,000 attack with Dance, so it's like kills them so easily. This card is fantastic. It's phenomenal. The first Darklord, a lot like this card, you can't target it, but this also protects all your fairies from being targeted, so it just makes your board like almost impossible to out. This card's 5,000 when you summon it, and it's a board wipe when you use the Morningstar, so you absolutely destroy things like Dracotail and Yummy once you resolve this. 2 Protector of the Agent Moon. On summon, this sends any card that mentions the Sanctuary in the Sky, which ends up being Hyperion, which lets you chain block the Gogolet, which is really important. And it's a way to convert the tokens into a Dark Fairy to make Mirage Lights because of the Hyperion. And also, it's a way to convert any 2 fairies that you make off of the myriad of engines you can play into a level 8 Dark Fairy so that you can make Evening Star with it. 2 Condemned Darklord. This is how you bridge the fairies into the Darklords because it just takes any 2 fairies and then it just searches any Darklord monster. The 2 Silvercord links. This card's an Omni Negate, so it's just there to force out like Nibiru and let you get greedy with your lines. This card is really only there so you can get promote a second effect to add back Happiness and like lines where you can summon a lot of Silvercord cards. SB Little Knight, Proxy F Magician. This comes up with the 1-card Promoa combo. It's the only way you can make it work. Herald or Mirage Lights. This is a spell trap negate, so it's just good. It requires you to have like the same type of attribute, non-tokens, to summon it though. So that's why the Hyperion comes up a lot, to be able to convert things into Dark Fairies, so that you can link them off into this. And then Typhon. So for the side deck, we play 2 Perelia. Pretty straightforward. You know, good against Vanquish Soul, okay against Yummy. It's just like a good going second card you can put in. 2 Bell, really good coverage. It also works out because you really don't want your opponent messing with your graveyard, because you need the spell traps to stay there to resolve the copying effects. So it's good for that reason too. 2 Droll, just for decks where it matters. And then 1 Tazcat Lapoka. So this card prevents destruction on any of your Darklord cards, which comes up against Lunalight, it comes up against Vanquish Soul, it comes up against Mitsu. It's just good to have. 3 Twin Twister. I think it's better than Double Cyclone in this deck, because it does the same thing as Double Cyclone against Dracotel, but it can also discard your Gogolette to trigger it, and it's just way better against Radiant Typhoon and back row decks in general. 1 Call by the Grave for going first. 1 Forbidden Crown. So I'll side this in, going second into Yummy, but for the most part this is a going first card. But it's nice to just have it be searchable. And it's also a way to play around Nib, because if you summon Evening Star on your 5th summon, you can just crown it if they ever try to Nib you, which is nice. And then 1 Pot of Prosperity. It's just a really generic side card, so it's nice to have. Talents, same thing. It's also like one of the only like good answers your deck has to Shifter, other than Herald and Called by the Grave. And then 1 Enchantment. This card is non-targeting snatch deals. It's great for that reason. But I don't think it's good enough to main deck, just because it doesn't have enough coverage that the other 2 have. And then one last thing, I wanted to show off like a quick combo that really, I think, illustrates exactly how good the Hyperion can be. So, just starting with Jehudi, right? Yo Jehudi, summon a Gogolette. Gogolette, summon the 2 tokens. And then you link off one of the tokens in Gogolette. Into Protector of the Agent's Moon, and this way you can chain block the Gogolettes, because this adding Dance is like mission critical. And it's probably the most likely thing they'll Ash, because Jehudi like baits out like Fuelos. So they want to hold Ash for this choke point most of the time, and being able to just erase the choke point is really nice. So you go Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, dump the Hyperion, add the Dance, and then you can link off the Protector of the Agent's Moon and the other token. For Condemned. Condemned, discard anything, it doesn't matter. You get Ixchel. And then you can banish this from grave to summon the Hyperion back from grave for free. You link these 2 off for the Herald or Mirage Lights, so it's able to convert it into material that can be used for Herald or Mirage Lights. Go ahead, activate Dance. Banish these 2. Another thing you can do if you want to save the Gogolette to add back with Jehudi, I'm doing a greedy line here, but if you want to add back Jehudi with Jehudi Gogolette so that you have like a bunch of fuel for your traps, you can also just link off the Condemned Darklord, keep the token on field, banish it in Hyperion instead. But yeah. And you resolve Dance, Evening Star, set Sanctified and Banishment. Go Banishment, add Rebellion, and then you go Evening Star effect, copy Banishment to shuffle it back in the deck and apply its effect. So you add Contact, go Ixchel, draw 2 blank cards, Jehudi, add back Rebellion, and then Contact back out this. And so this is 5 interruptions, because you have these 2, you can copy them twice, and you have the negate with this. And another thing you can do if you do end up having Gogolette, you can search Morningstar in the combo, and you can copy and apply Dance to get the board wipe. But yeah, that's what Hyperion does for this deck, is it just lets you convert everything like really smoothly, and it lets you chain block. So yeah, I think this card specifically is really important, and no one plays it. So yeah, just keep it in mind when you're building this deck. All right, and that's it. See ya.